Welcome to Taking Stock. I'm Amanda Lang. Coming up on the show, can we solve housing affordability by tackling demand? And labor disputes are nothing new, but will strikes become a thing of the past? Plus, picking a fight with China might seem scary, but it may also be our best option. That's all ahead. First, for the week that was in business, it's time for the briefs. The largest clean hydrogen plant in the country could be on its way in Alberta after Linde said it would spend $2 billion on a facility there to support Dow's green hydrogen needs. The plant's expected to be producing by 2028 and could potentially supply hydrogen to other customers as well. The federal government is clamping down on the temporary foreign worker program in all but key industries with chronic labor shortages. New rules will mean employers can't use temporary workers for more than 10% of their workforce.
Employment is higher. We no longer need as many temporary foreign workers. We need Canadian businesses to invest in training and technology and not increasing their reliance on low-cost foreign labor.
The government also suggested it could reduce the planned number of permanent residents accepted into Canada, which would be a major change of policy. After a long wait, Ottawa said it will, in fact, match U.S. tariffs on Chinese-made electric vehicles and also slap 25% tariffs on Chinese steel and aluminum. Ottawa says the punitive measures are a response to China flouting trade rules. Flair Airlines is giving new meaning to the term discount with $1 fares on some inbound routes. Travelers flying from southern destinations to Canada can take advantage of the low base fare, which will no doubt come with add-ons, but will still be a significant discount on other tickets. Less clear is how Flair can afford to fly its planes at those rates. If Japanese-owned 7-Eleven has its way, it will be deemed significant enough to Japan to warrant a protection from a takeover. That would thwart a bid by Canada's Alimentation Couche-Tard. Tokyo-based 7 & I operates the 85,000-store chain globally, while Couche-Tard and its Circle K run 16,000 stores. A 4-day work stoppage at Canada's rail companies came to an end early this week thanks to a Labour Board decision. It may not be the end of work action, but for now, the companies and their unions will be in arbitration to settle their differences. And those are your business briefs. Is choking off new demand the best way to tackle a housing crisis? And if so, will changes to immigration be enough? Mike Moffatt is Senior Director of Policy and Innovation at the Smart Prosperity Institute. Thanks for being here, Mike.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So you were at the cabinet retreat this week. I want to ask whether you think there are good ideas about housing affordability. We're seeing this idea about trying to choke off the demand side, but is it enough?
I think we need to see more. We've seen some changes to temporary foreign worker program, which I think will help choke some of that demand off. The Prime Minister mused about reducing immigration targets, which I would have thought even a month ago was off the table. He put it on the table, and I think that would make a real difference. That our population's been growing by over 1 million people a year, but we're only building enough housing to house about 300 to 350,000 people a year. Mm-hmm. So as that disconnect keeps growing and growing, we dig ourselves a bigger hole. So absolutely, I think we can get out of this on both the supply and demand side, but we're going to need to see bolder actions from this government.
And you've done that math, and it is kind of startling when you look at the discrepancy. If we look to the supply side, lots of talk, obviously lots of dollars directed that way. What are you seeing that makes you most optimistic that we might actually make some headway on building the number of homes that we need?
Rental starts. So rental apartments, those numbers keep going up and up and up. And that's partly in response to some of the changes that governments have made, like eliminating the HST on purpose-built rental. So that's a part of the housing system that's actually working really well. I think we now need to see that transfer over to the condo market and to the other ownership markets. But yeah, there has been some good news on the rental side.
We do hear a lot of talk about reducing the need to reduce regulatory red tape, the drag on the ability of developers to get projects going. Have you seen much improvement on that front?
There has been a little bit on the zoning side. The housing accelerator that the federal government put in is requiring municipalities to streamline zoning to allow fourplexes as of right. That's certainly helpful, but I think we need to see more around other planning processes, around environmental reviews, And I think we need to look at the building code as well, that there's a lot of red tape in the building code, initiatives that might have made sense in the 60s and 70s, but don't so much anymore. So, yeah, we've made some positive steps, but not nearly far enough to get the number of homes built that we need in this country.
You know, one of the calculations that the federal government seemed to have been making in the last couple of years is immigration brings economic growth. And we've seen that, right? It did juice our GDP, no question. Now they're saying, OK, but the cost to it maybe doesn't actually make it worthwhile. Do you think they may be overcorrecting in the other direction? Because, for instance, a lot of businesses would say they need those temporary foreign workers. Now they may not be able to get them.
There is certainly that risk. I don't think they have yet. The changes that they made to the temporary foreign worker program only kind of scales it back to where it was 2 years ago. Yeah, but absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that we need to have is longer term planning, right? Going, okay, what do the next 10 years look like on population growth, on housing, rather than this kind of yo-yo effect where, we deregulate and then we get really strict on regulation. So absolutely, I think we need to have a longer term plan to avoid these kinds of overcorrections.
We're going to leave it there, Mike. Great to have you with us.
No, thank you for having me.
Mike Moffatt is with us from the Smart Prosperity Institute. Coming up, a work stoppage at the rail companies is over for now, but is it a sign of things to come? Stay with us.